We covered a lot of ground. We talked about restarting after the fall off. We talked about staying consistent without burnout. We talked about designing a week that actually supports your life that you're building. And now we're closing it with the piece that holds everything together. Planning the next season with intention. Because here's what I've learned. All the daily habits, all the weekly routines in the world do not mean much if you don't have a clear picture of where you're actually going. You can be incredibly consistent and still feel like you're spinning your wheels and you don't have a direction. I want to show you how to plan your quarter. And I'm going to walk you through the framework that I use across different areas of my life. And at the end, I'm going to share a tool that genuinely changed how I turn my big goals so you're not figuring it out alone. This one is a little different from my other videos. It's more of a planning session than a tip video. So I want you to grab something that you can write down notes with because you are going to want to do this alongside of me. Let's get into it. The framework that I use for quarterly planning is based off of a book called The 12-Week Year. And I will link it in the description box if you want to pick it up. And I'm telling you, it's genuinely worth reading in full. But I want to give you the core ideas right now because it shifted everything for me. The premise is simple. We think about the year, but we should be executing in 12-week cycles. The annual goal is so far away that it creates almost no urgency. January goals feels low stake in January because December is 11 months out. And then suddenly in October, we're scrambling trying to make up for lost time. And we have no way of achieving these goals that we set in January because we wasted 9 months. The 12-week year collapses the timeline. That's the whole game. And when the deadline is that close, the way that you think about your goals, your weeks, your daily actions will completely change. There is an urgency to it that an annual plan just does not create. And it's also completely manageable. 12 weeks is a long enough time to make real, meaningful progress and a short enough time to stay focused all the way through it. And that is the lens that I plan through now. And here's how I actually do it. I want to give you 3 quick mindset shifts because these are the differences between a play that you execute and one that lives in a notebook that you never touch again. Principle 1, a goal without a plan is just a wish. We are really good at setting goals. We are less good at building actual plans to get there. And the gap between those two things is where most of the goals go to die. A goal without a concrete plan attached to it is just a wish with a deadline. The whole point of what we're doing today is to close that gap. The goal is not the plan. The plan is what makes the goal real. Principle 2, plan at the level of the week, not the day. One thing that the book emphasizes that really stuck with me is that the week, not the day, is the primary unit of execution. Days are too small and too unpredictable. One bad day can derail your whole mindset if you measure at a day level. But a week gives you enough room to absorb a hard day and still finish strong. When you assign specific tactics to a specific week, you always know exactly what that week's job is inside of the 12-week picture. And the clarity removes the guesswork completely. And principle number 3, track what you do, not what you get. This one comes directly from the book. And I think it's the shift that most people are missing. The 12-week year separates your measures into 2 types, a lead measure and a lag measure. A lag measure is the outcome. It's the result you want. Getting a subscriber milestone, hitting a revenue number, reaching a fitness goal. You want those results, but you can't directly control them. They are downstream of everything else that you do. A lead magnet is the action that drives the outcome, the thing that you can actually control. Publishing consistency, putting in the work hours, showing up for your workout, all of those things are in your hand. And if there's anything that we've learned over this last month is that you need to focus on what you can control, and that is your lead magnets. When you track your lead measures consistency, the lag measures take care of themselves over time. But most people only track the outcome. So they see it's not moving fast enough and then eventually they give up. Track the inputs, the outputs will follow. You cannot control the results. You can control the actions that lead to it. Now let's actually get into planning. So let's do this. I'm going to walk you through how I plan my quarter using 3 goals across different areas of a creative and income goal, a health goal, and a personal growth goal. I'm keeping these examples general enough that you can map them out into whatever you're actually working towards this quarter. So here's the process. Step 1, write your 12-week vision for each goal. The first thing I do is write a vision, not a vague intention where I want to be at the end of the 12 weeks. The book is very clear on this, that your vision has to be compelling enough to pull you forward on the hard days. So for the 3 example goals, it could sound something like this. Creative income goal. By the end of Q2, I have grown my online presence, system monthly income through digital product, and I have a content system that's sustained without burning me out. A health goal. By the end of Q2, I have been consistent with my workout, I'm strong in my body, my nutrition is something I maintain without overthinking it every day. Personal growth goal. By the end of Q2, I have read 4 on the skill that I've been putting off, and I show up each week with more clarity and less mental clutter than I did in Q1. That is what makes a vision worth working towards. Write yours to feel real and compelling. Step 2, break each vision into weekly tactics. You have your vision, you work backward. What would need to happen every single week for 12 weeks for that vision to be true at the end of the quarter? These are your weekly tactics. and the emphasis is on weekly. For the creator income goal, my weekly tactics might look like publish 2 pieces of content every week, spend 3 focus hours on production or brand work, make at least 1 outreach or 1 pitch attempt. Those are actual need to do every week to make this goal become a reality. For your health goal, it could be working out 5 days a week, planning your meals on Sunday, hitting my water goal every personal goal. It could be reading for 20 minutes every day, spending 30 minutes a week on a skill that I'm building, doing my weekly planning and reflection on Sunday. These tactics become your weekly job description for the quarter. Every Sunday when you sit down and plan your week, you are not starting from scratch. You are scheduling the tactics. That is what makes weekly planning so much faster. That is exactly lives in my Flourish Life operating system. My quarterly goals just in one place, so I can reference them every single week without refiguring the plan. If you'd like to check that out, it is linked in my description box below. Step 3, set your lead and lag measures. Now that you have your tactics, you decide how you're going to measure progress. This is where the leads and lag measures frameworks become really practical. For each goal, I write down the lag, the input I control. Pieces of content published per week, hours spent on production or brand deals, number of pitches, outreach per week. Okay? Moving on to the health. Lag measure, how I feel physically and my progress in the gym at the end of 12 weeks. Lead measure, workouts completed per week, days hitting nutrition goals, water intake consistency. Personal growth goal. The lag measure is books finished. Your lead measures, reading streak, minutes per week on skill development. And then every week I check in on my lead measures. Did I do the things? Not did I get the result yet. Did I do the things? Because at week 3, the lag measures probably hasn't moved much. But if the lead measures are green, you are on track. At week 3, trust your lead measures. So let's get into the AI piece. I've been using Claude to do this. You can do this with ChatGPT or with Claude. Use this AI system as your partner to build out your 12-week year plan. So this is what we're gonna do first. Because here's the thing, the framework is clear, but going from I want to grow my online income to a specific set of weekly tactics with lead, that is where most people get stuck. So I'm trying to make this part as simple as possible for you. Having something that can think through it with you, actually push back on fake answers, help you get really specific, makes the process so much faster. For Q1, I use ChatGPT. For Q2, I'm going to use Claude. I'm going to tell it exactly what I'm working toward, framework as context, and ask it to help me map out my plan. It's going to help me write my vision statements, tactics, define my lead measures, flag places where my plans were too vague to actually execute on. You can use this exact format. You're going to give brief context about where you're starting from. What comes back is a real actionable starting point built out around what you don't know. Back and forth and refine it, adjust for your constraints, change your tactics, and it becomes actual planning conversation. And it takes the friction out of the time it would take to figure all of that out. Now, I do have a few more prompts that you can use throughout the quarter. One for a mid-quarter check-in, when you need to adjust your process, and one for when life happens and you need to reset without losing momentum. I'm putting all of these together and sharing them inside of the Flourish Vault, which is my Substack newsletter. Box as always. So that is how I plan my quarter. Vision first, weekly tactics, lead and lag measures to track what actually matters. And AI is a thinking partner to help me get specific on the tactics that I need to achieve my goals. Spent all of March learning how to rebuild with intention, and this is where you put everything into practice. This series has genuinely meant a lot to me. Drop a comment and tell me what your #1 goal is for Q2. I want to know what you are building. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in my next video.
One hardwood floors, across the floor. Never be